No, Chief, thank you.
Justice Kavanaugh.
Yes, thank you, Chief Justice. And Mr. Letter, I want to follow up on Justice Alito's question. And this really goes to the fact, I think, that there's concern about what the limiting principle is here. I think pertinent to a legislative purpose is almost no limiting principle at all. At least I think that's what some of the questions have explored. And his hypothetical about a committee would start subpoenaing members of Congress of the other house or of the other party. And you said, well, that hasn't happened. But isn't the whole point that once you start down this road and this court articulates too low a standard, that something like that will start happening? That's the concern that I heard identified, or that I took away from that hypothetical. So I want to give you a chance to respond to that hypothetical of why it wouldn't spiral.
I greatly appreciate that chance, Justice Kavanaugh. Two responses. First, remember exactly what this court did in Clinton versus Jones. And I was on one of the losing briefs there. But this court said, we're going to let this happen because, but the courts will monitor the situation, and if there are abuses, the courts are still here. In addition, the Justice Alito's hypothetical, I also realize it might be there getting into things like privilege information or information involving constitutional liberty interests, and that's what this court has struck down criminal convictions, et cetera, for subpoenas that do involve.
Well, if it was personal records exactly identical to the personal records here, but from members of Congress, none of those would apply, presumably, at least under what you've articulated so far today.
I think that's right. But again, I come back to Clinton versus Jones. This court issued a very clear decision saying we're going to allow this one, but obviously the courts are going to monitor this. So if, contrary to what has happened in the past, over our lengthy history, if there are situations when the president's ability to do his job is being undermined, thank goodness the courts still exist and they are there to take care of it.
Mr. Letter, would you like to take a minute to wrap up?
Your Honor, I greatly appreciate that. I'm sorry, just flipping back to my notes. I apologize.